Hello everyone, my name is Awat. Today I'll be making a farming guide to help out my friends. As usual though, I will post this online so I can help anyone who comes across this video. Depending on how much the Aztecs change the game when they come out, I will either make a new video or simply leave a pinned comment with updates. So let's begin. So most people know what a farm is. For all pantheons except Egypt and Atlanteans, farms will set you back 75 wood and take 10 seconds to build. Now, this is the thing I've seen a lot of people struggle with online, and that would be sharing your farms. That's right. For example, if your teammate is playing Hades and they're going to go all in on archers, then they won't have as much need as for food anymore. And so when they reroute their villagers to use a different resource, they might have leftover farms around. Instead of building farms yourself, you can save resources by simply using your teammates' farms. Or better yet, if you're playing Atlantean or Egyptian, you can just have your teammates build farms for you and save you the high cost that Atlanteans and Egyptians pay with their farms. And a lot of people don't realize that Shenong, while the blessing power doesn't directly bless existing farms for your teammates, you can just build two farms in your teammate's base and then bless them, and then your teammate can take your farms, and that's how you can give them blessed farms. Going beyond, farms can actually be stolen from enemy players as well. So if you ever take an enemy town center that's surrounded by farms, instead of having your troops destroy it, since farms will give the enemy line of sight, you can have your own troops take the farms and use them for yourself. This is especially a good idea if the enemy is playing Shenong, or one of their teammates are and they have blessed farms available, making blessed farms actually a capturable resource. And blessed farms provide a lot of value, alongside the fact that it heals the village you're farming and makes troops on the farm invisible. So yeah, be sure to read up on what exactly Shenong's Blessed Farm does in the tech tree sometime. So I've been talking this and that about taking farms or sharing farms, but how do you go about actually doing that? Well, it's pretty simple. If you played the main campaign, The Fall of the Trident, one of the most iconic scenes is when Arcanthos asks if Troy is farming outside his walls.
Búrame. Esto.
What is this? Troy is attempting to farm outside her walls? We can steal these farms, build a granary here, and get some of our villagers farming them.
Pani. Ne. Panalista.
And while they encourage you to steal their farms, they kind of use a trigger to give the farms directly to you, which kind of circumvents the learning process that you need to actually right-click enemy farms to steal them. But yeah, it's honestly as easy as just right-clicking it. But you're thinking to yourself that you've done that before and didn't quite work out your way. Well, that's because there are some caveats to it. First of all, the farm needs to be fully built. Just like other buildings, farms can be found in a foundation state, where they're not considered a functional building yet, and in this state they cannot be stolen or shared. This means if you want to build farms for your teammates, you can't just throw them on the map. You'll need to actually have to send a villager over and have them build all the farms and get off the farms. If this is confusing, think of it this way. You can normally garrison troops inside of guard towers, but if the guard tower is not finished building yet, then you can't garrison troops in it. The same thing applies to farms. They are not functional until you've completely finished building it, which includes their ability to be shared and given to teammates, or stolen by the enemies. So yeah, I know for some of you it might be inconvenient to have your villager walk all the way to your allies' part of the base to build all the farms, but there still might be some scenarios where it's worth it. For example, if you're playing Greek and you have an Atlantean teammate and you build 12 farms for them, which 12 is the amount of farms to cover a town center, by the way, in case you didn't know. But let's say you build 12 farms for them. Since Greeks don't have to pay 75 wood as opposed to Atlanteans have to pay 150 wood, you've effectively just saved the team 900 wood. I don't know about you, but nearly 1,000 wood does sound like a lot. Or if you're in a scenario where you guys are being gold starved, then it would be really important to give your Egyptian ally some farms, since Egyptians have to pay 70 gold for all their farms as opposed to a normal 75 wood. And as you know, gold is a much more competitive resource than wood, which is often safe and can be found easily, especially for Egyptians, so you'd be doing them a huge favor if you build farms for them. If you're wondering why Egyptian farms cost gold instead of wood, it's because none of the Egyptian buildings will cost you wood, so they made the farms this way too to keep it consistent with the rest of the buildings. That and their heavy reliance on gold is a balancing factor for the Pantheon. However, you pick Ptah for your classical age, then it might not be a bad idea to pay for your allies' farms, since Ptah has a special technology that lets you half the cost of your farms, which is huge and making farms much more affordable, lowering the cost from 70 gold to 35 gold, saving you 420 gold if you build 12 farms, with 12 once again being the number required to surround a town center entirely in farms. And if you're wondering, yes, this technology does stack with the relic that discounts the cost of farms and makes it so it goes from 35 gold to 26 gold. Speaking about relics that affect farms, let's talk about them. So there's the relic I just mentioned, which is Ptah's Scepter. Yep, that's right. Ptah once again making farms cheaper for everyone. But since this is a relic, any pantheon of a hero can claim it, and it makes your farms 25% cheaper. Honestly, You could build the farms with the discount from having the relic in your temple, and then pop it out and give it to your teammates if they still haven't built their farms yet, so that they themselves can also get the discount. This might be useful in a scenario where you're playing a 4v4 and the teammate on the edge doesn't have as much safe hunt because that's just how team game maps kind of spawn. And so they might be inclined to start farming just a little bit earlier than the rest of the team. So they could start farming first and then pop out their relic and bring it back to the center of the team and give it to those guys when they start farming. And then the next relic on the list to affect farming is the Black Lotus. It increases your farming rate. So basically it acts as a free economic upgrade. And yeah, this scales pretty well in big team games. It's one of my favorite relics to get. Me and my friends have a running joke because whenever this relic is in the match, it often gets stolen from me. Now, this relic actually confuses me quite a bit because I don't know what mythology this relic is from. Whenever I try to Google it, it just tells me it's a Magic the Gathering reference. But I don't know, that's hard to believe that that would just be nothing but a reference and not from any actual mythology, because I can hardly think of any other relic that's just a relic, since almost all the relics in the game have a clear mythology they're related to. I really want to try and research this before I put the video up so I didn't seem uneducated, but honestly all I could find was Magic the Gathering. I don't even know if you can get a Black Lotus as like an actual plant. So if there is any botanists or gardeners that know about the Black Lotus as an actual plant, please let me know. And if there's any people who knows about the Black Lotus in relation to what mythology from the game it's from, let me know as well in the comments down below. And now that we're done with relics and I've covered how you can share farms, I think it's good to just move on to random facts about farms. So believe it or not, Shenong is not the only person who can farm in Age 1. All the Egyptians are actually able to farm in Age 1 as well. I actually have no clue as to the reason behind this. I don't know if it was like this in the original extended edition either, but I think that's pretty cool. Although clearly you wouldn't want to farm that early in the game anyway, since there'll be a bunch of hunt available. And if you're put in a position where you're farming that early, you're most likely already behind. And then this next one is not as much of a fact as it is a warning, but stealing and borrowing farms as Demeter feels like a headache sometimes. Like you're going to have to manually wait for your villager to steal it, and then you're going to have to manually tell your second villager to go stack, assuming you want both the villagers to stack onto one farm. While the claiming process might be a little bit of a headache, I still encourage you to do it as Demeter because if you do it with the Hestia technology that boosts population, I think it's 5 population for every farm next to a town center for a maximum of 2 farms and 10 additional population per town center. Stolen enemy farms will actually count towards that if it's within range of a viable town center that you just claimed. So yeah, it's huge if you steal an enemy town center and 2 of their farms, you'll instantly have the population boost without having to build your own farms. And what's more is when she converts the Asian farms, they still work as if they're a Greek farm, as in you can put 2 villagers on them. They'll maintain their Asian look since the Asian civs grow rice instead of berries, but the image will convert to that of a berry farm to let you know you can put 2 villagers on it. This, however, is not true of the Blessed farm. Blessed farms are uniquely programmed and will not be converted by Demeter. This means that when she claims them, they will stay a Blessed farm and they can only support 1 villager on it, and they will not become one of Demeter's bountiful farms that support 2 villagers. Interestingly though, despite not supporting Demeter's perk of fitting 2 villagers, it does support Hestia's perk, which means if there's 2 blessed farms next to a town center, and you claim them with Hestia's technology that boosts population, the blessed farms will count towards that technology, and they will count towards the up to 2 farms that can boost population from Hestia's tech. That being said though, I think Shenong players should be wary of Demeter players, and if you're ever in that specific matchup, try and spread your blessed farms out, otherwise one wither might just ruin your entire day. If you guys are wondering what map I used in this video a lot, that had the naturally spawning nature farms, it is my map Haven Exploration, a custom map part of my bigger map pack called AWOT's Otherworldly Maps that you can use online with your friends. And it has 3 variants for a different experience each time you play. And yeah, it just spawns natural farms throughout the area you can claim. I know that even people who do actively play my mod pack don't try all my maps that often because there's just so many maps now. And I don't blame you one bit. I do hope the Aztec get corn farms, just like how currently the Asian pantheons have rice farms as opposed to the normal berry farms. I just think that would be awesome to see the Aztecs. I was actually quite disappointed that Demeter didn't get wheat farms, since wheat is her whole thing, and it would make it visually more clear as to which farms are her. And because, you know, she has that whole thing where she supports 2 villagers on a farm. And plus, they already made wheat for a wonder. They just took the rice and painted it yellow and it looks like wheat, and I think that's honestly good enough. You know, save the hassle but still have that unique look. At this point, I'm just rumbling on and on randomly about farms. And I'm actually not teaching you guys that much about farms anymore, so I'm going to cut the video off here. Thank you for watching as usual, and have a great day.